I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to another review. There's another paid request, this time for Grade B. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos or topics or randomness or pretty much anything else, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for a film called Zathura. Now, Zathura was directed by Jon Favreau. This is before he did Iron Man, among other films. And for what I never read the book this was based on, but for what I understand, it was a spin-off of Jumanji, which is why this does seem very much like, as it says here, from the world of Jumanji. It's Jumanji, but in space. That's really what it is. And you have these two kids, two brothers, played by Josh Hutcherson and Jonah Bobo, and then their sister, who's not in the film too much, but it's Kristen Stewart. Yes, Kristen Stewart from Twilight, among others. But again, she doesn't pop up much, just every once in a while. It's mainly focused on these two brothers, and they're staying at their dad's place, and the dad is played by Tim Robbins. And pretty much the two brothers, one picks on the other. The older brother, he's always mad at the younger brother. Pretty much the younger brother always wants the older brother to play. I forget the characters' names. Damn it. But, so I'll just call them Josh and Jonah. The older brother is Josh Hutcherson, and the younger brother, like I said, is Jonah Bobo. So Jonah is always wanting Josh to play with him. He's like, no. And I will say they did a pretty decent job capturing what brother relationships are like. They did a fairly nice job with it. I will admit, though, there were times even I was getting annoyed by the younger brother and what he was doing. And some of the... got so excited, kicked to death. Even though I'm like, oh, you know, I can understand why the older brother's getting pissed off by this kid. I'm sorry. I'm like, well, too fucking bad. Sorry ain't good enough. So, I mean, so I can understand that. But, like I said, the kid actors did a fairly good job invoking that brotherly back and forth fighting. And I would say the writing and Jon Favreau's direction, they did have a nice sense of humor to it. And another interesting thing is that one of the co-producers is Peter Billingsley. If you don't know who that is, he was the kid in A Christmas Story. And would work with Jon Favreau and certain stuff like this. And so, you know, they're fighting around. The sister, Kristen Stewart's pretty much sleeping throughout most of the day. I did like the bit where Tim Robbins trying to wake her up. I'm not deaf. Huh? I'm not deaf. What? Okay. Pretty much Tim trying to gear her up, and Kristen Stewart's like tired, but like, I'm not deaf. What do you say? I'm not deaf. It plays much better than I make it sound. I'd say like, that one was decently funny. Or like when the younger brother's trying to watch TV and the older brother is just sitting there nonchalantly. And the younger brother, oh, I want food. I want macaroni and cheese. I don't know how to make it. Well, what do you know how to make? Water. Like, I thought Josh Hutcherson actually did a fairly good job as the older brother. And sadly enough, I understood his point of view more than the younger brother. So one thing leads to another, they're fighting. Tim Robbins has to leave for a bit. And the younger brother finds this board game called Zathura. And then it plays off like Jumanji. Start playing the game. Whatever happens in the game happens for real. Only again, this is more outer space stuff. So, you know, this robot. And I do like the fact that, yes, there's CGI, but there are times where you get to see some really good practical effects. For example, this robot, and yes, there are some CG enhancements in scenes, but a lot of times this robot is done practically, and it looks really cool. I like the design of it. I like the look of it. I think it's very effective for what it needed to be. Also later on, there's these lizard creatures, and I thought they looked really cool. It's called the Zordons. See if I see right there. Like that looks really cool. The picture doesn't do it justice, but I mean, look at that. A film like Zathura, which is a film no one talks about. I don't hear a single person reference this movie, but this movie is still better than any of the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's fucking Jumanji sequels. I'd rather watch this because there's more, I think, more heart to it. I think there's more humor that's more either genuine or more fitting than Kevin Hart being, oh my god, I'm going to die if there's a donut or whatever the fuck it was. Like what was it, donuts or something that killed Kevin Hart's character in those? Or something else. I can't fucking remember. Just fucking stupid. Or and Jon Favreau is a fairly talented filmmaker. Like the first Iron Man, solid. I really do like Cowboys and Aliens, which he directed. And he did this film called Made with him and Vince Vaughn. He directed that. That wasn't too bad. I think he helped write Swingers. He didn't direct it, but he helped write it, I believe. But I know he acted. I really do like Swingers. Not everyone's cup of tea, but I think that's a rather funny film. And again, very competent director. I don't know what the last film he directed. It seems like he's just more of an actor, like he's in the new Spider-Man films and such. Which is too bad. But yeah, there's some really good practical effects. I like the look of these lizard type aliens. I think really well done animatronic work with them. And animatronic puppetry, like that type of stuff. And look, like a film, I was saying like a film like Zathura, which no one's ever heard, well, maybe you've heard of it, but not a lot of people like talk about. And even this will feature some practical effects. There's some CG, but and granted, just because that's practical doesn't mean it's good. Look at the new Star Wars films. There's practical in that. Doesn't mean those movies are worth a shit. But it's still something nice to see. And it's pretty much just a series of events, like this robot going crazy, or this gravity field tipping the house, as now the house is in outer fucking space, as this showcases there. Or their sister gets frozen. I was frozen today. Or this astronaut appears, played by Dax Shepard. Now, Dax Shepard, I don't mind him as a performer. I know not a lot of people care for him, or he's not their cup of tea. I don't mind him. I remember he was in some of the punt that Ashton Kutcher made and created. Sometimes the guy who would be performing some of the events would be Dax Shepard, who worked for Ashton Kutcher then. And then he would do other films. He was in Without a Paddle with Seth Green and Matthew Lillard. I think he directed that film Chips? He was in it? And I remember not hating that film. I didn't think it was great, but I remember not being... I know a lot of people hated that film, but I don't remember it being great, but I'm like... I remember saying, I'd rather watch this than the Baywatch movie. But yeah, I don't mind Dax Shepard. With that said, while I do like the film, I think the characters work fairly well together. I think the writing and the direction by Jon Favreau make it a bit wittier than like a typical cringy kids film. Like, this film has quite a bit of merit to it, where again it doesn't feel like a Nickelodeon made movie or any of that stuff. What's wrong with that? Well, because a lot of them suck, in my opinion. Just my opinion. I will say, though, the one thing that's missing with this film that made, like, Jumanji work is someone like a Robin Williams. I'm not saying you need a Robin Williams type, but it's just, like, it does make you realize just how Robin Williams was so important to the success of Jumanji. It truly was, because he was a great performer. He was very funny, but he also gave a very human performance. What I mean by that is that you really felt sorry for Robin Williams' character, the backstory to his character, when he's realizing what happened to his father's factory, all the years he lost because of this game. And also, he was very entertaining. He's very likable in that role. And that is something that this is missing. So maybe I am saying, I guess I am saying, yeah, this needed like a Robin Williams type. I think that would have really helped. But I guess they try to do that with this Dax Shepard. You know, I don't mind Dax Shepard, but he's no Robin Williams. But yeah, it does make you realize that just that someone like Robin Williams was really important to that movie. Yeah, the little brother, again, the kid, the child actor didn't do a bad job, but there were times where I was even getting annoyed with him. I mean, because he tried to cheat. The older brother, Josh Hutcherson, got fucking yanked into space, and Dax Shepard had to save him. I'd be pissed too. And I would feel the same way as the older brother was saying and thinking. I'm like, you little twerp. I'm sorry. Too fucking bad. Sorry ain't good enough. But I know I'm being harsh. And Dax Shepard, what was cool about this role was that it was a chance for him to play something a bit more serious. Because Dax Shepard usually has this type of persona that he plays, his like comfort zone. But this got him to play a little bit more of a serious role. A little bit more of an adult role. Like the bit where he tells about how he got in this situation because he played this game before. And he had a brother. And when he got this thing to make a wish, he was so pissed he wished his brother was gone, but then he immediately regretted it. And I thought Dax Shepard played that scene off decently well. It wasn't laughable, wasn't cringeworthy. and then Kristen Stewart gets unfrozen, and that's where it gets into these aliens called the Zordons. And it was cool to see like the real cool practical creature work done with those things. When the house is getting blown apart, obviously some of it's going to be CG because you are involving kids and you don't want a Twilight Zone incident. Twilight Zone the movie. So I can understand for safety. But there are moments where nobody's on screen and a piece of house explodes, and it's done practically. Real explosions. When like the aliens are blowing up pieces of the house, and you tell that there was some model work done. Maybe not all the way, but there's some model work done. And that stuff does help in this kind of movie. It does help quite a bit. And I will say the movie doesn't feel long. Like, it's 101 minutes, but it doesn't feel that way. Especially when it gets going and they're playing the game. Kind of like Jumanji, it just really goes into, okay, what other weird, crazy thing's going to happen next? Which is part of the appeal of Jumanji, let alone Zathura. Not this shitty CGI wannabe jungle movie, like wannabe adventure, wannabe Indiana Jones, that the new Jumanji films want to be. And it's like, oh dude, you're not even really Jumanji then. I'm sorry, like the basis of Jumanji, let alone Zathura, what it's about, how does that really truly entail with the fucking new Jumanji movies of today? I mean, you might as well say they're inspired by fucking Tron. It's them, and they're, or, well, Tron, Jeff Bridges didn't go into a video game, he went to a computer. I'm trying to think of a movie where you go into a video game, and, like, that was the major basis. There's movies that you had scenes, like Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare, but I'm sure there is. I've just drawn a blank right now, but anyway, back to this. But yeah, this was a fun film. I think if you like Jumanji, you'll like this. It's not as good as Jumanji because you don't have someone like Robin Williams to really anchor the film. But the kids, again, the younger brother right there annoying me a bit, but they still work off each other fairly well. Kristen Stewart, she's not in the film as much as it seems like based on this cover, because she's fairly prominent on the cover in front of the two kids who are more the stars. And the few bits she's in it, she's not that bad. And stuff like the Zordons that you see a bit there. Some of the effects look pretty cool. And when I had good pay, it was a fun movie. It was entertaining. Wasn't too bad at all. Despite some issues I have here and there. I'm trying to think, like, if not Robin Williams, like, who would you get in this role? Because these came out around 2005. Trying to think. You know what? Maybe someone like an Eddie Murphy. Like, he's friends with Tim Robbins, and Tim's like, hey, could you stay here, man? Yeah, sure, man, I'll stay here. I'll watch the kids for a bit. And, like, he doesn't have kids, so he doesn't know how to deal with it, or... I think that would have made it even better. It'd be a better than fucking The Haunted Mansion, or these other kids films that he did, because at least here you have a competent director in Jon Favreau. And a halfway decent script. And this actually has quite a few features, now I realize this. Commentary with Jon Favreau and Peter Billingsley. The making of. A visual effects documentary. The cast. Pretty cool stuff, so. yeah, it's a fun film. If you like Jumanji, despite by a few issues, entertaining ride with some pretty decent effects, fairly competent cast, and pacing doesn't feel too sluggish. So with that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.